In this video, I'm going to talk about CIS30A course project. You can find the course project modules at the bottom of all the modules. So after this current week module is week 3, you would find a course project. Our course project is broken up into 3 parts, and it's due on the 11th of February, which is approximately a month away. For the project information, you can click on the first page and it provides the document that listed the options and the project requirements. So you are to select one of the options and you are to write a program, provide documentation, and publish it on your ePortfolio and do evaluation for your self-performance for all 3 parts. So for the first option, you are to write a Python program that allows the customer to place an order and set appointment for goods or services in a business. So for example, if you wanted to do a restaurant, you can present the customer with the menu. They would then place the order and then set an appointment for the food to be delivered, or set an appointment for when they would dine in, and then you would output the receipt and show their order and the delivery information. Now, if you want to incorporate UI, user interface, we will talk about that in the next couple of weeks. And an option that you can use is TK Calendar, where it shows up the calendar itself in the actual program. So the program would prompt the user to select the product or the service, set appointments, and so I would leave it up to you on which restaurant or which business you wanted to choose. You can choose various business. You can come up with a business where the user can purchase products and schedule for delivery of that product or service. And so the program here, the requirements should display the user selection on screen. It would provide order summary and appointment set time in the text file. And for the grading criteria, I would also look into these items for your grades for the project. Now, if you incorporate user interface, you would get a 30 points for bonus. If you don't like option 1, you can choose option 2, which is a community garden program. And in this program, you are to write a Python program to allow the user to register and schedule an appointment to visit a public community garden at Moreno Valley College. The operation hours are provided there, and during each appointment, the patrons can pick fresh produce, fruits, and vegetables from the garden at no cost. You can also use TK Calendar to incorporate this part for UI. It also lists the things that your program should contain. It should prompt the user to register general information and contact information like user first and last name, phone number, email addresses, etc. It should ask the user to set an appointment during the operation hours in the span of 1 year. It should display the user selection on screen, and it should also prompt the user to donate money or some form of donations if possible. It should also output the order summary and the appointment set time in text file. and it has the technical components criteria the same as option 1. These are the elements that I'm going to look for when I grade your project. And bonus will be 30 points for implementing UI. We will talk about TK calendar in week 5. For option 3, that will be a poker game in Python, and you have an option, or you can do a Texas Hold'em poker game. For the rules of the game, you can click on that link and it will show you the details of the game on how to play. Your program should display the dealt player's hand, flops, river, and turn, and at some point even the dealer hand, depending on the end of that particular game. Then you should show what the dealer has to display win or losses from the player. The program should contain rounds that allows wage bet, fold, stop, or continue against the dealer. The program should also contain each game outcome, winning or losses for the player. And again, I would include the components so that way you can be graded by individual components to total up to the set points. And if you integrate UI, it doesn't have to be fancy in cards. It can be some kind of menu options to show. That will be a bonus of 30 points. Now for part 1, in part 1, you can find part 1 in the next page after GitHub how-to. So I don't require GitHub, but you can use GitHub to store your source code and information. For part 1, you're required to provide a 1-page of your program summary, describe the program goals, functionality, and target or audience. 1-page, double space. And also you need to provide another document that includes your pseudocode. Basically, it outlines your program from start to finish. It also includes conditional branching, input, output, and program operations. Here, there's a provided link for how to write pseudocode. So I expect 2 documents, one for program description and one for program pseudocode. Make sure you look at the rubric when you go through the parts. And this total up to be 100 points. For the next part, this is the program itself. Please put your Python files in a zip folder and upload it for part 2. When I downloaded the files, I will start looking through the criteria, which you can also find in the rubric. And the points will be given accordingly. So part 2 is the program itself. Make sure that you include the Python files in the zip folder as we are required to incorporate modules. Next is part 3. And in part 3, you are to evaluate yourself. So when you click on this link, you can answer the questions on how you did for the project overall. Once you complete and click submit, make sure that you take a screen capture of your evaluation and upload that as part of part 3. Also, the second part of part 3 is to create an e-portfolio that contains your project using Google Sites. I included a couple tutorial videos here for you to view in case you need to know how to create an e-portfolio and add your projects to it. There's also tutorial, simple, basic Google information, Google instruction here. So once you create a portfolio, make sure that you publish it so I can see it. Test the link using different browser like Edge or Firefox. And when you submit, make sure that you submit the URL for your portfolio. And in Canvas, you can click on the tab where it says URL when you submit your assignment. If not, you can put it in comments or other areas of the actual assignment itself. But remember, I set this to accept URL, so you should be able to have the URL tab and add the URL there for me to see. Or you can upload a document that contains the URL. That would be fine too. So for part 3, I expect to have a screenshot of your project self-evaluation and a URL for your publish ePortfolio on Google site, which contains your project. And that would tie up all 3 parts, so make sure you look at the rubric. And this is due on February 11th. All 3 parts. Please let me know if you have any questions. And this would conclude our video for CIS30A course project information.